welcome to the Mindful Making podcast. This is episode number 9, and today it's the 6th of July. So here in Australia, it is in the middle of winter. But today it's a beautiful day with sunshine, and it's bright, and it's just warm and opposite to the last few days of chill and rain. But we love a bit of water as well. It's just a protection against the bushfires, and also for the plants to get something to live off. So, I appreciate the rain, and sometimes I actually appreciate a bit of cold, so I can get to wear woolen jumpers and scarves and etc. So I'm very pleased. I'm Jane, and I'm Danish, and I live here in our house north of Sydney. And I'm filming in the craft room, and as you can see, I've taken off the door of my yarn cupboard, and I'll just show you a bit of the stash, because I've done some stock take of what is in my stash, and I'm a bit surprised of how much I have. But anyway, we'll come back to that. Mindful Making is a podcast about making, strangely enough. And my favorite type of making is to knit. I also sew and crochet, but it's mainly knitting. And today I will share a few of what I've been working on lately, and also a few finished projects. So grab a cuppa. I have this is a peach tea that my son bought for us, and it's lovely, sweet, deliciously sweet, and very hot. But grab your cuppa and your project, and I hope you'll enjoy half an hour with me. So where you can find me on the internet. So on Instagram, I am Mindful Making. I have an Etsy shop called Mindful Making AU, and on Ravelry, I'm Mindful Making AU as well. So I hope you would join up with me there and see what's going on. I'm fairly active on Instagram, so you can keep up with what I'm doing, and I can keep up with what you are doing, which is very exciting. But let's first talk about one finished object, and that is one that I'm wearing. So this is the Zweig sweater, and I'll just put down my cup. It's a Zweig sweater, the Zweig jumper, designed by Caitlin Hunter from Boylan Knitworks. And in the last podcast, which aired probably a month ago, I was working on this, and I actually did the top section twice, because the first attempt I had too many rows up here on the shoulder. But this one is just perfect. I think I finished it in 2.5 weeks, so a fairly fast knit. Loved the lace section up here. And then I'll just stand up so you can see the body as well. See if that comes in. Whoop. And I have the chair behind me. So you can see it's quite roomy, or there is some positive ease in the body. But I like it that way. So it's both, comfortable, but also, pretty, and, well, what I want to say is that it's not so comfy that you can't wear it for work. So I've been wearing this for work a few times, and I just love it. The yarn is in the body. This is the Coast yarn, so that's a 50-50 cotton and wool from Holst Garn. It's double-stranded, so and I've knitted it on, I think, needle size number 4. This up here, the lace is Olan, and I have them here. So I think I showed you as well the last time. So this is what is left of the 100 gram skein of the Åland yarn. So you can find her on åland.ie, and this is called Åland Single Sock, and the color is Alchemy. I bought this at Skeins Sisters in Sydney, a beautiful yarn shop here in Sydney. And this is the Coast yarn. This is, the color is cocoa. Beautiful, so I did it double-stranded. Yeah, and I'm very, very pleased. An excellent pattern, and now I'll just dig down to take it. Whoa. So here it is, Caitlin Hunter's Zweig sweater, jumper, and I know a lot of us have, a lot of you who would have made it as well. I love the lace section. It just ran so quickly. So that's one finished project, and I've used it a lot lately. Then in the last podcast I showed you some sock yarn, and that I was venturing into knitting my first sock, and I did. Not only one pair of socks, but I've made 3 pairs of socks. So here they are. Very bright yellow and grey, so the grello combination. So the top ones were the first pair of socks that I made. So these, and I can't remember the yarn, it's just a regular grey sock yarn. I know this yellow lime green colour is socket from Garnocell, and the colour is called Gollum. I don't know whether it's still there. I bought the yarn a few years ago. So these have been worn, so if you can see they are a bit, maybe a bit dirty. He has worn them. So this is what they look like, and it's the first time I've done a pair of socks, so yeah, went well. It was very easy, I think, and he's pleased. They might be to the larger size for him, but we haven't washed them yet, so maybe a bit of washing would deal with that. And then I did a pair for my older son, so he can be seen in the dark with these fancy shiny Gollum socks. So here they are. And I like this heel flap and, let me put it this way, heel flap gusset structure. This is the only style that I've made so far. So, and I also found out, you know, by looking at some of my husband's socks that his grandma did, that I was thinking how many stitches should be left in the middle here when you then decrease into that heel shape. And for his socks, even though it was a large men's size, there wasn't that many, so that was what I opted for on these as well, and they fit my son very well. So here they are, 2 of those. So I hope he likes them. He can see them at least. And then for my daughter, I have done these beautiful socks. And this is the yarn is from Circus Tonic Handmade, and you can see here beautifully grey and then speckled with just a touch of teal, green, lime, yellow, blue. And as you can see, it is hand dyed, so one has more speckled than the other, but that's a charm of hand dyeing a yarn, that they're not identical, and there's so much livelihood in the yarn. It's beautiful. It's was very easy to knit with, and again here I opted for the ribbing leg, because I think that would sit very well on the leg and keep the structure of the sock tight and neat. So here they are, dancing along. They haven't been used yet, but now that I've shown them here, they can be gifted and be used. And let me just see here, did I have the rest of that yarn? Yes, I do, because the remaining, and you can hear a bit upstairs, that's my son doing or heating his lunch in the microwave. So in this bag from Mace and Dale, this, I've been wanting a bag like this for ages, and this is actually just fabric that they use when they do screen printing. So these are leftovers, so no one will be identical, so they're just a bit of splashes and, you know, different tests of their prints, and I just love it. So no, it's called Mace and Bale. It's you can get them at Fibersmith in a yarn shop in Melbourne, and I bought this, and I think it's before Christmas as a Christmas gift for myself. So in here, just the leftovers. This is what is left of 2 balls of the grey yarn, and that is what's left of 100 gram of Gollum. Maybe a pair of short socks. I could do that from the leftovers here, or at least for a child maybe. So I'll see, that can go back into my little stash here. And then this is the remains of the Circus Tonic handmade, and it's her sock base, and the colorway is Weebill, which is an Australian native bird, and it has these, you know, teal, green, blue color splashes in it. It's so pretty. I don't know yet what I will use this for. It could maybe go in a shawl, as I originally intended. So maybe it is the exploration shawl. Exploration station, yes, that it will be used for, as it was originally planned. So it goes in here. Yeah, and what I used as the pattern for the socks is from this little booklet. It's in Danish, and it says socks and socks, stockings and socks, and I made these as my starting point. And then in this book there are different styles. I think there are probably 10 different types of socks. But what is very handy is that there is this table of all the sizing of, you know, the length of the leg, the length of the knee, not the kneecap, the heel flap, how many rows, how many stitches should you pick up, down the heel flap, and then the length of the foot and the length of the toe. So I've put in some small marks to see where the kids are at the moment. Probably won't change that much. They are 19, 17 and 14, so probably stay the same. So that has been sitting in the cupboard for many years, but now I used it, which I'm very pleased about. My needles I used were the Knit Pro double pointed, so I opted for double pointed needles. These are very light and work very well for me. I use the size number 3. Yeah, so now I can put this back and give this bag a little wash, and then it's ready for a new project. Yeah. That was the finished objects, I think. Not much, but still. I feel I've been knitting all the time, and I probably have. But these were the finished ones. Currently, a test knit is running for the next pattern release, which will be the winding rose scarf. So it's a texture like this that runs through the scarf, and it's created by using twisted stitches, both knit stitches and pill stitches, and then left and right increases and decreases. It is again, I've used again my favorite yarn, which is the coast yarn, the 50/50 cotton wool, and then you get this sort of small, nice scarf. You can wear in winter or in the in between seasons, and you can also put it around like this. Whoop. So you have a little sort of around the shoulders. The test knitters are still working, and of course they found a few mistakes that I've made, and that's the beauty of test knitters, that they can just pick out what I'm blind to. When you've read through your pattern and all your calculations a number of times, you just don't notice anymore, and they found a few things, so it should be ready for release in mid-July. That's the plan. But keep an eye out on Instagram and on Ravelry, and you can get your version. So you can create your version for spring or for autumn, depending on where you are in the world. And I know that there are viewers from in the northern part of the world and southern part of the world, so I just want to welcome the entire world. I think it's amazing that we can connect over our passion for knitting and for making, and to all the Danes that I know are watching, hej og velkommen til min lille verden hernede i Australien, and to those of you in Australia or other English speaking or wherever you are in the world, welcome. And I just wanted a sip again, and just cheer and be very grateful for the community that we have. Nice. Yeah, so I have to put it on the floor because I don't have any more space in I have a little table here on the side with what I want to talk about. Yeah, finished objects. So let's talk about what is on the needles now. After doing 3 pairs of socks, I wanted to do something bigger and something for myself again. So I usually alternate between knitting for others and then knitting for myself. So now I want something for myself as well. So I have it. Well, this was a prototype of one of my bags, and in here, and there are a few threads hanging on because I'm alternating between 3 skeins of yarn, of hand-dyed yarn, and I just need to untangle. It takes forever. And I lost 3 stitches, so bear with me a moment so I don't lose them. Here we are. This is the Flusy cardigan, and it's designed by Libby Johnston. She is on Ravelry and on Instagram she is Truly Myrtle, a very popular pattern she created is probably 9 months ago, or at least 6 months ago now. It's a slip stitch pattern, so you only knit with one thread of yarn at a time. I'm doing a size 40-inch bust, which is probably a size 40, 38, 40. I will do the short version. There are two options, a long or a short version, and it's an open cardigan, and there will be button bands and buttons down the front, and this is the back. So I've just divided for sleeves, and I'm now just an inch or so, 3 centimeters below the armhole. I have opted to knit back and forth. I could have gathered in the round and just knitted round and stitched it afterwards, but I felt, actually, which sounds very odd, I liked doing the purl stitches, just a bit of slowing down, focusing on one stitch at a time. My purling is not as fast as when I knit, but I take this opportunity to practice purling and just enjoying a bit sort of slower pace. The yarn is amazing, totally amazing. It is from, see now it's on, let's see, so it is yarn from Union Fibre, a hand dyer from New Zealand. She does the most amazing yarn, and it is so soft, and it has a bit of shine to it as well. I don't know whether you can see it, especially the blue and the blue color. You probably can't catch it on camera. And as I said, I am here, so I have 3 threads running off. So I'm alternating every row or every second row between them, because I want a what's it called? An even fabric, the even in color. And let me just take up one of the skeins. It does look a bit messy. Oop. Not very pretty. I'll just tidy up a bit. And then the third one is this one. So the top is a coast yarn, the white, and it's called Ecru. And then these two are from Union Fibre yarns. And I'll just take up the small labels, and you can see the names because I can't remember. So they should be down here in my bag. So the blue is called Odette, and the base is, it's a 4-ply fingering weight. It's 60% merino, 20% yak, and 20% silk, and it runs 366 meters per 100 gram. It's amazing. So it's the base Nomad and the colorway Odette. And trying to sort out here, and then the yellow. It is called Pinot. Still the same base, merino, yak and silk. It's the most amazing, soft, but also a bit, it's very slick and I'm about to say slippery, but that's not the right term. It was actually so slick that I started off using my usual needles, the Chaigu needles, metal needles, but it was way too slippery and I had a lot of tensions in my fingers to hold back the stitches. And then I wanted to go, to change to wooden needles, and I found out that I didn't have a size 3.5, so I had to go to the local yarn store and get a new set of needles. So these are the Knit Pro needles, and now it works much better. So you have just a bit of resistance. So it just sits better, the stitches sit better on the wooden needles. So that's, sometimes you just have to change your needle type to get what works for the yarn and for your project. So I'm very happy, and I'm very happy with the colors. So this was the only, the amount of the yellow that I needed to use. So I have a lot left. So if you have any suggestions what that should be used for, let me know. Putting it back here, and I will just show you the pattern that I've printed out. So the Flusy cardigan by Truly Myrtle, this one. So this is the short version, and I think the jumper is designed with positive ease, but this version is just, I think this is a smaller version or smaller size, so when wearing it, it has basically no ease, which I think is very pretty, and it's the short version, which is what I intend to do. I'll just show you the longer version. Here, very pretty colors with the yellow as the main color. So as you can see, this is longer and a bit more roomy, so more positive ease in this one. Beautiful. If you don't know of Truly Myrtle and her patterns, please check her out. She has some lovely designs, and a lovely lady. So I can only recommend her. Yes, that's it for work in progress. And typically I work on one project at a time, so I can't show you anymore. I'm pretty good, stable with one project. Recently I did get a request from a local lady here whether I could knit up a vest for one of her children. I've done 2 before, but now the oldest one has grown out of hers, and number 3 have, so just moved down the kids, and she was looking for a vest for her older daughter. So I think I will pause the Flusy and get on to doing a vest for her. That will be the exception for, for my one project at a time rule. But I like just having one project. And of course, sometimes you prefer to have a small project that is easy to carry on and to carry with you. But I always have my bag, and I just have it on my shoulder, and my handbag in the other hand. So that's how it works for me. And I can get a bit, well, not stressed, but just confused. Probably not the word either, but I like just working on one project at a time. In the beginning I talked about my stash, as you would see here. This is just part of it, and the other weekend I don't know what happened, but I had the urge to look through my stash to see what's in there. So the bottom shelf, to see if I can, you might see a bit of, so I emptied the bottom shelf and counted through what was in there, and I have a little book where I then noted it in. A lot of papers in here as well. So basically all my cotton and wool yarns. So I did a page like this, so put in a little sample of the yarn and how much I have. So these two pages is basically the bottom shelf here. And typically there are 200 to 500 grams of each color, and you see there is a theme of grey, blue, and a bit of sort of soft pink here. And when I then summarized and summed up all these, the meterage and how much was here, there is 50 kilometers of yarn. 50 kilometers, and that's just 1/3 of the stash. And I posted this on Instagram, and my sister then responded with a comment, and she said, well, that's enough for 36 jumpers. And I just thought, okay, no yarn buying for me for a long time. So I think the same goes as for, the one project at a time. When I have too much in my stash, I feel, I don't know, get a bit anxious, or it's just that there's so much that need my attention. And I promised myself this year as a New Year's resolution that I would use stashed yarn in 2019, and I've done so far. I've been pretty good. I have been very tempted, and I have also, when I saw good deals or very interesting yarns, I went into the shop and I put it in the basket, but I haven't gone on to paying. So I've just done the basket and then I've emptied it again. So I've been pretty good. So you won't see many yarn purchases on this podcast this year, hopefully. You can keep me on track of using up my stash, and as you see, there are plenty. But having said all that, I did run into a good deal. And that was just because I had to buy some new needles. I had to buy the wooden needles for my flusy cardigan. So this sounds like, and it looked like a bakery bag. And going to the local yarn store, they had, so I had to buy the needles, and it was $9.75. And the minimum for paying with cards was $10, so I had to find something else. Well, so first I just bought a second pair of wooden needles, which is a 3.25. And then when I was about to leave, and then I just remembered that the other day when I did the washing, I looked at all my dishcloths. They were all faded, they were full of holes, so they have been used a lot. And then I've been wanting to do black cloths, and then I saw that they just have had on sale 8-ply cotton black, $2.50, which is 10 krona in well, Danish kroner. Picked out 5 small balls of yarn, and then this one, a green. I have something with the live green. This is a 10 ply. This will be this cloths as well, just for ourselves. 3 balls of this, and there might be 100 gram in here, so there will be a few of the green ones. So that was in total 20 dollars, which is 90 Danish kroners. So in this in this bakery bag, it looks like it's a rolls, breakfast rolls. So I made it to 4th of July 2019, from 1st of January without buying anything. But I feel that I bought something that is not just for fun, but actually something that we need, and it serves a purpose on the day-to-day basis. No more yarn buying for me. No more, I promise. But anyway, I think I've come to an end with what I wanted to show you, apart from sock knitting, because I like the sock knitting. And while doing my stash review, I found these 2 in my stash. So it's a Mayflower sock yarn, strømpegarn. So that would be a nice pair of socks, and I have a birthday present in mind that these would be suitable for. So that might also jump on my needles. And then I found these ones as well. And this is actually a yarn that I bought in an Aldi type shop many years ago, and I have used it for a scarf, I think. Or maybe I tried to do a jumper, I can't remember. But I think this would be suitable for a pair of socks as well. Not that I am turning into the sock auntie yet, but that could be a nice in-between project. I think that's it for now. In terms of knitting. Family-wise, we have celebrated my daughter's birthday. She turned 17 2 weeks ago, and we had the pleasure of having all her friends over for her birthday. It's so lovely to see those young people and how well they get along, and how kind and compassionate and caring they are for each other. That just warms my heart, and it was just so lovely to see her happy and being the hostess of her birthday, and it was just so cool. They are on a term break now. They just had their last day of school yesterday, so 5th of July, so they would have 2 weeks off now, and they just needed the break. They were exhausted. So I think they would sleep the next 2 days, and maybe they would tidy up their rooms. That's a deal. They have arranged a date for my husband and I tonight, so they have booked cinema tickets. So we're going to watch The Rocket Man, and then they have booked a table at a restaurant for us. They thought we should get out, and so we would have a date night tonight, which I'm looking very much forward to. It's so cool when your kids, do such things for you. My oldest son, he is basically moved out the last 2 weeks. He's 19, and he's house sitting for a friend's family and taking care of their dog. So we haven't seen him. So it's just like, he's moved out and he comes home Saturday or Sunday night for dinner, and it's just like, oh my son is back home, so it's just lovely, and he enjoys us as well. So all good. That is all for now. I hope you enjoyed this it's been 40 minutes now, and if you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. That would be a great help. Also, please share with your making friends, your makers friends. That's not the right term, but your friends that like to make and to knit and to sew. And I hope you will come back, and I'm probably going to do a podcast again in a month's time. I think that would be the frequency that would work for me, so I'm trying to do that. Keep an eye out on Instagram for the release of the Winding Road scarf, and then I hope to see you soon, and that you have enjoyed a bit of knitting, and see you again soon. Bye.